All right, welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining with me. I've got Warren Whitlock on the show with me today. We're going to do a lot of stuff, a lot of talking. This conversation between Warren and I is going to be serendipity, cross-promotion, but let's get into a lot of stuff that we're talking. Warren, coming from Vegas, how you doing, buddy?
It's fantastic here. We have a slight wind. So it's only 100 degrees today. It's beautiful.
That's right. Just perfect pool weather. I got it.
Uh-huh.
All right, Warren, you get into a lot of stuff. Your hands are all over everything, fingerprints everywhere. Tell me about the latest project. I think, what was it, blockchain interviews? And then I want to hear about CoinAgenda and then what we're going to do with each other.
Okay, great. Well, let's talk a little bit about the blockchain interviews. One thing I've done in, well over 1,000 podcasts I've hosted and teleseminars back in the day. And for some reason, those remind me of being a good thing. Just get a smart person on the phone on a conference line where there's 5 people, 50, 500. It didn't really matter. I never felt any kind of nervous that it was a huge audience. Got 2,000 people on there. It's the same. It's me and talking. And I remember one with Mark Victor Hansen, Chicken Soup for the Soul. And it was just, there wasn't anything I could talk to about that guy that wouldn't be interesting. He's a very, very smart man, and he's very successful. And I was in the business of helping authors promote books. So, of course, it fell right together. But the first time I got him on, he didn't know me. I was just a guy. I was actually assisting somebody else. So there'd be, a third person there. But then I was supposed to shut up and let them do their thing. And just in that little conversation, the guy was late or whatever, I go like, wow. And the learning from that is you do a lot of this, you get comfortable with it, and that's the way to do it. So I was always turn on a podcast. I'm a radio guy anyway, but no matter what I do now, I just kind of expect some kind of serendipity. And so I came on your show, we chatted a bit about blockchain. Blockchain's my thing these days because I think blockchain is the thing that's going to help IoT, nanotechnology, AI just go fantastic. And so, I think that's the place where I can cut friction out of systems. So it's blockchain, and I like to do interviews. So right now the show is going to be called Blockchain Interview. That could change. If you see a show from me on WFN1 and it doesn't say blockchain interviews, it's still the same show.
I just changed my mind. Okay. All right.
I may change my mind before we get done with this interview. And it's a fault I have. I know I test very, very creative, and I come up with things. I say things like the boat leaves the station. Now, I just said that on purpose, but sometimes I say things like that now. I rewrite every line that I do. After years of copywriting, that just became, and doing this just became natural for me to do. In truth, naming something and sticking with it, blockchain interviews, TM, trademark on it, and always call it the same thing and have your same 3 points you're going to talk about, keep to those bullet points. Really smart business marketing ideas. Think good way to live life. Just doesn't happen to be Warren. I'm more let's go out and try some stuff and expect serendipity to catch on. There's so much opportunity in the world. Let's just go try some stuff. Okay. And that's kind of what we're doing now.
Yeah. And I'm liking the free form on a casual Friday, if you will. All right. CoinAgenda. You got a new website launching. What's that all about?
That's if you see any bags, that's CoinAgenda.
Right.
They've been working on a new website. CoinAgenda is the oldest crypto conference. It used to be called Bitcoin Conference because that's what there was. Started in 2014. A couple of years before that, Michael Turpin was working on that kind of thing. And there were Bit Angels, Alphabet, the investment fund. There's a lot of things he's done. And he was successful. He started MarketWire back in the 90s, which was, a leader, one of the first in online press releases. In the old days, we'd print out press release, put it in an envelope, send it to people. Then we had fax machines. MarketWire brought it onto the internet. And so, he did really well from that. Came to Las Vegas about the same time as me, 13, 14 years ago. And so we've been friends ever since. And, he said, I saw this Bitcoin thing come along and whatever. And he said, no, you got to be doing this. And he started using his PR firm to help those companies. Well, in a couple of years, he was a leading investor in it. Back when Bitcoin was $100 or $200, whatever it was. And so it may be looking bad right now, but it's like, 30, 40, 50 times as strong as it used to be. And so this down is there. And so he's been holding this conference. Well, he knows how to put on a good conference. Anam Alpina went with, we used to do red herring conferences. You may have heard of them.
Yep, I remember those.
Nearly 20 years ago now. He's, produced conferences all over the world. So he's come on. Michael asked me to be content director to help make sure all the content stuff works because, you get 50 speakers coming to the same place for a couple of days. It's hard. You got sponsors, you got attendees. Everybody wants to meet Michael. And so we're relieving him of some of that. But the cool thing for me is, man, every day I'm talking to, family funds, hedge funds, new ICOs, great ideas. Just realized just the other day, somebody sent me an email and asked, tell us as an advisor how much experience you have. And I was thinking, I don't want to tell them that I'm talking to 50 different ICOs in a month. It sounds like, I can't focus on anything. The guys that pay me get a lot more of my time, right? But I talk to a bunch every day. He says, how many do you talk to? I said, well, 10 a day sometimes. I review white papers, I talk to them, and then what I realized is not very many other people get to do that. And that's why I say go to CoinAgenda. You go to CoinAgenda and you get those kind of people. Last year, when it was in October of last year, I went just to drop by to see what my buddy Michael Turpin was doing. And I walk in and it's this conference for 200 people when it had been 50 before, but they had 450 people show up. And you just hardly couldn't get around anywhere. They took more space or whatever. It was hard to find the right place for food. It actually came off really good, but every time I sat down and talked to somebody, they were doing something outstanding, fantastic. We're going to digitize art. What? What do you mean? You're going to take the art and put it in? No, they're going to create a token. And did you know that with a high resolution camera today, you can tell one forgery from another, from the original? There's so many little details it can pick out. It can develop a signature, and that digital photo will stay with whatever happens to that art. That's just one, and so the infrastructure is being built for blockchain to be, 100 or 1,000 times the size it is now. It's not that crypto up and down. It's the overall thing. And so what I do is I'm just helping put together. We launched the site today, CoinAgenda.com. I take care of making sure the people talk to each other and get that done so it doesn't have to all wind up on one guy's desk.
Right. Now, they have global Caribbean, Asian, and Europe, global in Vegas, and what is that, October 23rd through 25th? Mm-hmm. And then, so that's the next one. It's the only one you can register.
It'll be the last one. Yeah, it'll be the last one this year. Puerto Rico conference, Caribbean, was held in March, and then in June we went to Singapore. It's the first time in Asia, and then Malta for the European conference. That's the second European conference. But this will be the fifth global conference. It used to just be called CoinAgenda. Now it's called CoinAgenda Global, to differentiate it from the other ones. So this is the big one. And it's held adjacent to Money 2020, where the fintech crowd is. And if you want to know what's going on in the institutional side of using things like blockchain, that's Money 2020. So, but instead of thousands of people, you're looking at a couple hundred people together. It's at Mandalay Bay. It's always first class, everything Michael does. And it's just a good time. And if you want the investments that are from the billionaires, or you want to get to know the funds, that's the thing to come and display. Those people pay for a sponsored table or whatever. There's a contest. And then the other presentations are going to be like from these guys who really do invest like that. and a lot more intimate than the big 10,000 people at a show thing. Though, that's here too. That's just down the street.
What about the serendipity cross promotion between you and me? What are we going to do? What are we going to show the world that you and I can do together?
We're doing it. I didn't intend to talk about CoinAgenda today, and here you bring me on and get me talking, and it's going to do that good. And hopefully you'll put a link up, and that's what builds the web. I think it's something we forget, that the reason it's called the World Wide Web is it's interconnected. So the best website in the world is nothing more than a billboard at the end of a cul-de-sac. If it's sitting by itself, it needs people to go there, or it's a waste of time. You have a beautiful website with no traffic and you're in trouble. That's one of the things I'm working on right now with the CoinAgenda is, getting them to install the right kind of tracking so we know if 100 people come, what happens. And I think, that conversation comes up all the time. You and I have talked about it. Putting the right kind of tracking in and setting goals for Google Analytics. These are very inexpensive things to do, and anybody can learn by going on a website and watching a few videos. I've done it a lot, since before they called it Google Analytics. What was that, 15, 20 years ago? And so I found out that's a forte I have. I'm not in the business of installing Google Tag Manager because, it's so simple. But when I'm advising somebody, that's what I go for. And what you bring to the table that I don't know about is you have you have different audience.
Yeah.
And some of the finance stuff that you tie into this, those are things that I don't normally work with. So I think it's I think it's a good bromance we got going here.
Yeah.
I have never before and never will again use the word bromance in an interview. So I want you to know that's how special you are.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, Warren, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful relationship.
Yeah. That's a better way of putting it. Thank you, Rick.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, Warren, thanks for being a guest on today's show. We're going to do short clips like this as we go forward with all kinds of zany conversations, but we're going to be making points that nobody else makes. Thanks for being on the show, Warren.
Thanks. I love being here.
Me too. All right, you've been watching CEO Money with Michael Yorba. Don't forget, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.